In this video, what we're going to try to do is there is a lab where you need to create, where you're going to be given the CIDR block that your AWS VPC is going to have. And basically what you need to do is you're going to be given this CIDR block for your VPC. And then you want your subnets inside of this, any subnets that you create inside of this VPC are going to be in this form. They're going to have the 192.168, and then we don't know what the X octet is going to be, and we don't know what the Y octet is going to be. In this case, it's not going to be as simple to um, to create different subnets by simply modifying the value of X, because this is a /28. You can only do that if you have a /24. That's because you have, in a case like that, it's because you have 8 plus 8 plus 8, that is 24, but we have a 28 here. So let me explain to you how you would be able to find the different subnets. Again, the subnets are not going to be as easy to get by just simply changing this number. If you just change this number, that is not necessarily going to work. So, so in this case, I am at this website is solarwinds.com/free-tools/advanced subnet calculator. And so pretty much what I'm going to do here is I need to change, I need to enter this IP address. So it's going to be 192.168, and then I have a 0 and another 0. And then the number of bits that are going to be part of my mask is this 18 that we have here. So I change this to being 18. So I go down here in this list. You can see how this changes. Whenever I had it at 24, pretty much I had these 8 bits for my hosts for any given subnet. Uh, Actually, it was 24. Give me a moment. I'm trying to get to 24. Yeah, it used to be these ones. Um, so now we have this one. Well, so now what we have in this situation is that we have a /18. So I change this to 18. You see that now we have this space for our subnets as well as hosts. So then the next thing that it's asking me is how many subnets how many bits are my subnets going to have? And in this case, uh, the value we're going to start at 18, but we want to get to 28. That means that your subnets are going to have 10 bits, because 18 plus 10 gives you this 28. So the number of subnet bits that you need are going to be 10, and that is going to give you a lots of, you can see it gives you a lot of subnets that you can have. They're going to be relatively small because they only have these 4 bits in order to get their IP addresses. In the past, whenever we had /24, we were able to have 8 bits, but in this case, we're going to have a small number. So now if you want to take a look at what are going to be the actual subnets that you can create in this, the type of subnets that you can create in this space. Remember, in all of this space, you're going to be able to fit at 1024 subnets, which is a lot of subnets. Um, so if you want to take a look at the list of the actual IP addresses, you can see the first one is going to start at 192.168.0.0, which was the original starting number here. It's going to be /28. And the IP addresses that that subnet is going to have is going to be from 192.168.0.1. This is the first usable IP address. And the last usable IP address is going to be this one. Remember that the network address is the one that you cannot use, but that's the one that is used to identify the network. And then the broadcast is simply the one, if you want to send a message to all the hosts from the first one to the last one of the usable IP addresses, you send it to this one. And then you can see that the second one, it's 192.168.016. They're like relatively small because they only have, like I said, you can only have there's potentially for 16. Uh, you have from 0 to 15. That's 16 numbers for your the different values that the IP addresses can take. Remember, the first one and the last one are usable, so that's why we end up with 14. But you can see, so the first one can be like this. The second one can be like this. Look at how many we have where the third octet is 0. There's a lot of subnets that you have like that. It's until here that you can see that it changes to 1. In this case, if you use this other one, where the octet changes to 1 up at this point here. But you need to use a calculator like this if you need to take a look at what the actual subnets are going to be. Now, if I'm going to show you, like in general, whenever we're working with AWS, what we have is we're going to have a situation where what we're going to have here is like the normal case. Let's use one of the usual ones that we can use in 172.16.0.0. So in this case, normally whenever the number of the CIDR block or the number of mask bits that we're going to be used for our VPC is going to be 16. So that's this 16 here. And then the number of bits that our subnet is going to have is going to be 8, because as I mentioned before, whenever, let me write it down here. So we have 172, and then we have a 16, 0/0, and then this is slash 16. So now what you're going to have in this particular situation is going to be that you're going to have 172.16, and then we're going to have a /24. This is the normal way in which we create subnets in AWS. This is the situation where you can simply change the third octet, and you will see how the values, how you can create different subnets by just changing this third octet. So now if I say, and then, so pretty much what I'm saying is I'm going to be using this octet here, or these 8 bits here, to these 8 bits, I'm going to use them for the subnet. And then the last octet is going to be used for host. And you can see here that we have 256 possible subnets in this particular case. Now let's take a look at the actual subnets. Let's see what they look like. And what is going to happen in this particular situation is if you just modify this value here, you're going to see how you are going to get different subnets very easily. So you can see here, this is exactly what I was just telling you. And this is, so your first subnet is going to be 172.16.0.0. Look at the next one. The third octet is 1. The next one, the third octet is going to be 2. The next one, the next octet is going to be 3. The next one, the third octet is going to be 4. The next one is going to be 5. So you just change the third octet and you simplify your life so much. And the last one is going to be 255. That's the last octet that you're going to have here. But you can see it eventually it will show up there. If you remember, when I was telling you how many subnets you can potentially have here are going to be 255. This is the 255 subnets that you can have in this case. And that's what we had, this is what we have here. Because the third octet, if you're using all the third octet to differentiate subnets, then you're going to have 255 plus this 0 is going to be 256. So that's pretty much how you use this. This calculator is very important because it allows you to be able to take a look at what the actual subnets are going to be. But as you can see, if you use a CIDR block of 16, and then your subnets use a subnet, a CIDR block of /24. By the way, this is going to be the subnets are going to be, yes, so this is the CIDR block is going to be like this. So you can see that in a case like this, you just simplify your life because you're just modifying the X and then you get different subnets and they are not going to have any overlapping between them, and then you simplify your life so much. But in the case that you need to determine what are going to be your different subnets, if you have a different scheme, then you need to use this calculator, and this will simplify your life so much. Okay.